My name is Katie Bales. I'm here today as a parent, an advocate, and more importantly, a voice for my son, JJ, who was born with a very complex congenital heart defect. So our journey into the world of pediatric cardiology really began at my 20-week ultrasound when he was diagnosed with PAIVS. At the time, I was really kind of almost dumbfounded by the lack of uncertainty that our care team could give us about JJ's prognosis. What interventions and surgeries he was going to need, but really more importantly, kind of what his quality of life was going to be. There was so much uncertainty around that. And Claire, we heard you talk yesterday, about that, extending life, but extending healthy life. And so I think we're fortunate now in pediatric cardiology to not just have to focus on decreasing those mortality rates, but we can really focus on improving the quality of life of this very vulnerable population. So when we got our diagnosis, or JJ's diagnosis, I was very worried about his quality of life. And his care team could, kind of tell us different scenarios about the surgeries he would have, but they couldn't really speak to what his life was going to look like beyond those surgeries. So I really had a lot of questions around that and wanted to do everything that I could to really make sure we were on the right path to giving him that quality of life that we wanted for him. So this kind of drove me to get involved in this space. And after he was born and home for the hospital for the first time, I wanted to really be able to give the clinicians and the physicians that we had encountered, I wanted to give them the ability to answer some of those fundamental questions that we had as parents that we couldn't get those answers to. And I knew that the way to do this was funding research. So I got involved with a non-for-profit in the U.S., the Children's Heart Foundation, who focuses solely on raising money and funding the most promising research for congenital heart defects. But over the years, and as JJ got bigger, I started to realize kind of the lack of innovation, accelerated innovation, at least in the pediatric space in general, and how far behind this was compared to other areas of innovation. So I want to tell this quick story because we think about innovation as having to be this grand thing, and to us as patients and families, even small innovation makes a difference. So as part of JJ's annual care routine, he undergoes a 24-hour halter. It's not really a big deal, wears it for 24 hours, and we get the results. But you can see the picture on the left is him at 2, almost 3 years old with the wired halter. And you can see the extensive tape that would later become tears and whelps as I was trying to remove it, and all the wires that would keep me up all night sleeping next to him, worried that he was going to get tangled in those wires. And the box he had to wear on his shorts to preschool, where those little toddler friends would ask him what it was, and he was too little to understand and to be able to answer those questions. But then the picture on the right just this past year with a small wireless halter, right, that can fit under his shirt. So when he shows up to school in 2nd grade, he can hide it. He doesn't have to carry that mental load to worry, are his friends going to pick on him? What are they going to say? What are they going to ask? He now has the power to choose to talk about it or not. So this small innovation that isn't life-changing, right? It's not saving his life, but it makes a big impact on the day-to-day of these patients. So then this kind of got me into what I feel like is my next passion. My current passion is to really improve pediatric technology and help accelerate this innovation. So I did that first by becoming a seed investor and really leading the investment and the fundraising with a small pediatric medical device group in the U.S. developing a polymeric heart valve specifically for young children. And then I saw this need for this patient-centric, parent-centric voice in other aspects of our care. So I was able to help a group at our local institution form the first parent and patient advisory board for our center, and then kind of on a broader level, working with a consortium in the U.S. who specifically supports innovators developing new devices for pediatric technology. So all of these cool projects, I say all of that because they led me to meeting Dr. Levine and hearing about the Living Heart project. And you heard Dr. Hoganson and all of the people before me kind of talk about the amazing capabilities of this modeling. And so I want to really just kind of drive this message home about keeping the patient at the center of this work. So JJ's story was very personally impacted by the Living Heart Project. Earlier this year, he needed a highly specialized valve repair, like Dr. Hoganson mentioned. So using this model, Dr. Hoganson's team was able to collaborate with the JJ's surgeon to plan the complexities of the surgery. So they performed the valve repair, thinning the leaflets, mobilizing the papillary muscles, and adding cords to the valve to help it close. So using this model, he was able to plan every aspect of that surgery, from the size and position of the valve to measuring the exact length of those cords that he replaced in his valve. So I want to emphasize really, you all understand, of course, the science behind this, but I want to emphasize the impact this had on us as parents, because we went into this knowing the amount of planning and the precision that was done to generate this plan for the surgery. So words really can't express how impactful this was to us. I think the other thing that's important to kind of mention is that when you're going through something like this as a parent, you feel really helpless. And we had the opportunity to go to have this modeling done with Dr. Hoganson and his team. And we also have the privilege to be able to have the flexibility and the resources to travel anywhere in the world to get care for JJ. And so when we were deciding to relocate temporarily from Chicago to Boston to have this surgery, this technology and the expertise behind it was one of the big reasons we chose Boston Children's Hospital for JJ's care. So I remember we were sitting in one of the conference rooms the day before JJ's surgery, and it was a whole week of planning. But Dr. Del Nido, his surgeon at Boston, was able to pull up the model that the team had made and show us exactly what he was going to do. And in that moment, it felt very real, like this was happening tomorrow morning. I felt very overwhelmed and very scared, and this weird feeling of also feeling very confident. And that's what this did. It provided us as the parents with the confidence that our surgeon knew exactly what he needed to do and what he was going to do to provide JJ with the best care possible. So my hope for the future and for this technology is really to see it transform the care of children like it did for JJ, to see it become more routine. And like Dr. Hoganson was mentioning at the end, just how many centers they're starting to expand to, and bringing this capability around the world over time. And I hope that one day we'll be standing up here talking about how this is the new standard of care, and that every complex congenital heart surgery or every surgery is planned using this technology. I don't think I can fully express how impactful this is to families like ours. So I want to just conclude by, thanking Dr. Hoganson for your mission-driven work, and thank you, Dr. Levine, for introducing me to the project and 10 years of your passion to get it here. And everyone at Dassault Systems for, allowing me to be part of something so special. And I'm really excited to, be an advocate for this project.